Okay, so ABN is here in Hamburg this week for Aircraft Interiors Expo. We're on a stand that has a special announcement, special reveal today, which we'll hear a lot more about in the next 10 minutes or so. We're on the stand, we're on Muirhead stand, and I'm joined by Dr Warren Bowden, I'll get your name correctly, who's the Head of Innovation and Sustainability at Muirhead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Warren, welcome, and thanks for inviting us onto the stand. So, let's get into it.
Okay.
What's the announcement? What is this? You've got
This is a new invention.
Yeah.
We created this over the last couple of years. Principle of this is that what we've been trying to do is to circularize manufacturing of leather,
right,
which we've successfully done. But one of the key pieces is using all of the raw material, and the most important piece of the, if you like, the raw material that we use is collagen.
Right.
So we've been looking at finding ways of adding value to collagen, using its rather unique properties, hydrolyzed protein.
Yeah.
So think egg whites, becoming meringue. Putting it in the oven and hopefully it doesn't burn.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the principle that goes into this. So collagen made into a foam, and then because of that naturally intermescent property, the foam doesn't burn.
And the collagen you're talking about, actually you've got some here in front of us, I can pick it up. It's in this white powder.
It's the same sort of collagen powder you'd see in a health food store.
Okay, right.
Okay, so it's similar.
And like you say, our skin, our nails are collagen.
We're made of it. It's the third most abundant material on the planet.
Okay.
Entirely natural.
Yeah.
But has these extraordinary properties.
Yeah. And that is a byproduct of
leather manufacturing.
Leather manufacturing process, which obviously Muirhead is well known for. So,
indeed.
So you're using the byproducts of your business to bring them back in and do something else with them, which is creating this new form of foam.
Normally with leather, what you have is the collagen that you cross-link with other materials.
Right.
And what we've done with the protein is use the protein to cross-link the conventional materials. So it's actually reverse engineering it.
Right.
So what we've done is form something which actually has additional bonding. So it's because of that additional bonding, it's more durable, it's more comfy, and you get natural intermescence. So you don't have to add all of those other normal ingredients you'd have in a conventional foam, which is particularly useful in manufacturing lightweight, but also natural material. It's also one of the keys to unlocking its use at the end of life as well.
Right.
And that's a hint in the keys to unlocking end of life.
Yeah. So we should name it. It's called BioPro. And that's literally, this is the first time it's been sort of in the public domain, launched today. Publicised a couple of weeks ago, patented this last year. Okay. That's a global patent. So
global, UK patents granted and protected globally.
Yeah. And you were saying before we started how much of an advance this is. Sometimes things are just an evolution. Would you say this is a revolution in foam?
One of the seating OEMs said to us a few months ago that this was the biggest innovation they'd seen in aircraft seating in 20 years.
Okay.
Being able to removing the nasties is a key piece, but also opening the avenue to completely circularizing the seat at the end of the seat's life is a revelation.
Just tell us a bit. You're a doctor. That's a doctor, not a doctor of medicine, but a doctor of you were telling me before biochemistry.
Yeah.
So you know the ins and outs of how you get from this to this. How long a process has it been to perfect this process? How difficult is it, and what process do you go through as a company to get from that?
We've been playing with protein, obviously. It's part of our core business for quite a while. It was one of my core activities over the last 20 years, but specifically working with foams. This was one of those conversations which starts off with, you can't do that, that's ridiculous. Can you make that into that? You're bonkers. Well, 3 weeks later, the first prototype was produced using exactly the same equipment that you would do in a normal foam making factory, molded foam, and all we did was to play around with the chemistry set. So over the course of 4 years, we've gone from that's ridiculous to a prototype to something that is airworthy,
certified now,
airworthy and patented, which is crazy short timescale.
Okay.
In the air, coming literally. This is the launch. Yes.
Well, is this quick cycle something the industry generally? I mean, the industry is often accused of moving too slowly, but I think when it comes to things like sustainability, there's a push to get things done quicker. Is that happening?
I think there's a balance here because obviously you mentioned certification during this interview. This absolutely has to be right before it gets into the air. So there has to be proof. We've spent the last few years proving the application of this. From the first prototype, which was 3 weeks in, to getting it ready to go in the air. We're also looking at it for other market sectors, which have different specifications. But basically what we're doing is getting something ready for the certification process, so it can meet the sea-burn test, kerosene burn test, which it does. In fact, in the first test we did, we burnt it naked.
Right.
And it passed.
Yeah. So it says there's natural fire retardant. Capabilities.
Protein has a natural intumescence to it.
Yeah.
So just by example, quite often with firefighting they wear leather gloves. Not surprising.
Yeah.
But the firefighting foam you find in the corner of the office is a protein foam.
Right.
So there's a natural association of using these protein-type materials to create this intumescent material. But the beauty here is that it's actually built into the foam rather than adding something else, which adds weight and adds abrasion and basically destroys the durability of the foam. Yeah. It's actually here built into the chemistry of it.
And is it also, I mean, other win-win-wins here? Like, is it lighter than the regular foams as well, so you get that benefit?
As a singly molded, one-shot mold, the lightest one we can do at the moment is 47 kilos.
Right.
So when we compare a conventional example cushion with what we can do, we're as good as or lighter slightly than the best that's on the market today as a composite seat. But you can do it all in one shot, so there's no waste to it.
And it's sort of halfway through the first day, or towards the end of just after lunch on the first day. It's been busy-ish today, but I'm sure you've had plenty of airlines come your way and have a look at what you're doing.
Yes.
What's been the reaction?
Anticipation, I think. Yeah, let's get it in the air.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Excitement.
Yes.
I mean, the thing about this is it'll be in the air whenever it is, and it'll be rolled out widely.
Yeah.
Most people will sit on it at some point. I'll never know, really, because
you wouldn't know.
Why would you know?
No,
why would you care as a customer?
Yep.
But there you are sitting on something that's quite revolutionary without realising it.
I think it is, and when you've got airlines saying, we want to reduce the carbon footprint of the interior, or reducing the footprint of the cabin, or looking to have something which end of life could be converted into something positive.
Yeah.
This ticks a lot of those boxes, and it's there available now. So I think it is synergistic maybe with some of the direction of travel, particularly with aviation becoming slightly more aware of green. Maybe it's been overdue and now it's here. So
it has to do everything it can, the aviation industry, because it's not going to,
of course it does,
stop burning kerosene anytime soon. So anything else it can do to mitigate the impact. And as a fellow Brit, it's a great British innovation as well.
Absolutely, it's all homegrown.
Yeah,
and it's even just to go back to the origins of the material. It's UK grass-fed. Source material, so it's fully traceable, as is the leather. It's the lowest impact material, so the life cycle, for example, of this foam is lower than a conventional,
right?
But it's all our own raw material.
Well, I know we've got to talk to one of your colleagues in a minute, so our time is up, but thanks for introducing us to that.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks, Warren, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Brilliant.
So our second Muirhead guest is Martin Longden, who's the head of cabin engineering. Welcome, Martin. We're going to talk about seats and covers, aren't we?
Absolutely. We're sat on one now.
We're sat on the product. It's your leather seat, right?
It is.
And it's proper leather. So
proper leather, real leather.
Proper leather. But leather's here and it's here to stay. Well, why? Explain why you think leather remains, a seat cover of choice for most airlines today.
For most airlines, the obvious is the quality aspect. Leather is always perceived by airlines customers as a quality product. From an airline's perspective as well, it's more durable than most other products out there, has a longer lifespan, and is much easier to maintain, less downtime for aircraft, etc. So it has everything from cost benefits to luxury feel, luxury appearance.
So it's not just the kind of a feeling this is more luxury because it's leather. There's a smell involved with leather, I guess. There's a real practical aspect to this. It's still good stuff to use.
It's still good stuff. It tends to have a better comfort factor. It tends to have a better general feel, tactile kind of. For the customer when they're sitting on a leather seat, they know they're sitting on a quality product.
Okay. So Muirhead, you got into this, you were telling me beforehand, a number of years ago, because of the process of it's different from creating other seat covers, including synthetic leather and cloth leather and cloth seats. So tell me about how you're innovating in this area. You're an innovative company, I know that, but what are you doing in this area that's innovative and different to some of the other competitors out there?
I think we've made a bespoke process that is for our product. So leather is very artisanal still. It's quite a unique product to work with. So when you're processing a leather hide into a cover, there's lots of different aspects you need to take into consideration. Unfortunately, sometimes generalists get it wrong, and that tends to then create issues between us, between the other processors and the customer. So we decided to vertically integrate that supply chain, simplify the process for the customer, take the hassle out of buying a leather seat cover, and if it's an issue with the leather, if it's an issue with the processing, you've only got one place to look at.
I see.
Also becomes more cost effective to the customers in general, because you're removing margin stack from 2 or 3 people being involved in the supply chain, and makes it a much easier and simpler supply chain for the seat OEM or airline.
And that's reduced costs, which obviously for any airline operator is absolutely key.
Particularly in these days.
Costs aren't going down anywhere else at the moment, so anywhere you can save.
Anywhere you can save a bit of time, money
is important.
Weight is important.
Supply chains are so complicated. I mean, this show sort of almost epitomises it. Anything again you can do to simplify that, I guess the airlines are out there desperately looking for those opportunities.
Absolutely. They want a product that they can put on their aircraft, rely on, and forget about it for 10 years. And on some other products.
10 years for a cover. I mean, that's
we offer a 7-year warranty on our leather. And most airlines that we work with, the covers are still on there at 8 to 10 years.
Okay. Now, the world is going, I guess it's going vegan and so on. What, from the airline's point of view, are they going along that route, or they still see the advantages in leather and are prepared to invest in?
I think over the last few years, the message has started to really come home that leather as a product is a byproduct of the meat industry. There used to be a misunderstanding that animals were used just for purely for their hides, but that's not the case. Obviously, if we didn't use the hides to produce leather, they would just go to landfill. The animals are still being processed for the food industry. So a lot of the airlines now see that as actually it's the most sustainable product on a cover, on a seat.
And I know you're an innovative company at Muirhead. We just spoke before about the new foam that's coming along. How would you innovate in this area? This is an ancient industry in some ways. How can you innovate any further? I mean, but sure, there's always things you can do differently. There's always advances. What are you looking at as Muirhead?
So we're always looking at different ways of processing the leather. We've discussed previously about our free tan products, which are more bio. So a lot of the petrochemical type chemicals that used to be used in tanning are now being replaced with green tannages, plant-based, etc. Looking at ways that we can utilise the leather better. We use a lot of technology now in AI-generated hide scanning to get the best possible yield out of CNC cutting, whereas traditional shops, perhaps using sort of templates and hand cutting, you don't get the yield, you get more wastage, etc. So it's about
everyone's using AI. You've got to find a reason to use AI.
If you can't find a reason to use it, you're missing out. But so there's lots of innovation around utilisation and what we can do at the front end in the production of the leather.
Right. And it's not just, I mean, these sort of seats, or this sort of leather seats it's in aviation, but it's in automotive as well.
Correct.
Are industries sharing best practice and understanding of you learning stuff from the automotive industry and vice versa?
I mean, we supply probably 70% of our business is currently automotive. And again, we've integrated further and further up the supply chains in automotive, because again, those customers see the benefit of us not only producing the leather, improving the way we produce it, but also cutting it for them, so we can use our technology to get the best yield out of that leather. So we have a lot of high-end automotive customers, from McLaren, Rolls-Royce, JLR, Aston Martin. Those kind of customers all use us to cut the leather for them as well as produce it, so that they can get the best utilisation. Keeps costs down, keeps waste down, and helps with the carbon footprint of the leather as well.
We haven't got much time left, but just we're midway through or just after midway through the first day, I think. And it's been quietish, I think, but I'm sure you've had some good conversations with potential customers and clients on the stand. What's the general feeling in the industry, do you think?
We just come to the common theme seems to be everybody's just come to the tail end, believe it or not, 4 years up the road of coming out of COVID, getting aircraft out of long-term storage, getting them back in the air. What they're now realising is 4 years sat on the ground somewhere hasn't done the interiors a lot of good. So we've had a lot of inquiries for refreshes. As we know, aircraft deliveries are several years out. There's long pipelines for that. So airlines are having to sweat their assets a bit more. I get a feeling people are just accepting that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future, maybe forever now. And they have to plan accordingly. It's just a different way of running an airline. Absolutely.
So actually having a product that has longevity helps. Maybe is what they're looking for. They can refresh now and rely on that for the next 7 to 10 years, rather than refreshing and 4 or 5 years down the road having to do it again. Look, our time is unfortunately up. That went very quickly.
That was great. Thank you.
But thanks for joining us, and it's been good to see you. What a really nice stand and some great products. So
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.